Station 9. Sorrow.
Through the urging, the mocking, the spitting, the calls to crucify him, Jesus remained silent. Now, on his way to execution, he speaks. Though drenched in blood, he speaks not to his own suffering, but to the suffering of others. He speaks to the weeping daughters of Jerusalem. Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and your children. Jesus warns the women of the impending doom of Jerusalem. Within a generation, the Romans would torch Jerusalem and destroy the temple. Thousands of people would be slaughtered. Historian Josephus said that the Jordan River bodies and the Sea of Galilee turned red with blood. Towns and fields were burned. The horrors led to unthinkable conditions and famine so severe that mothers were said to have eaten their own young. While these daughters of Jerusalem were most likely not the same women who followed Jesus from Galilee, rather, these were likely professional mourners who sang the dirges of lament on behalf of the people of Jerusalem. Jeremiah describes these mourners as wise and skillful. They help the people to grieve and to repent. They announce the arrival of death. They wept for the violence that overtakes their land and their children. They raised their voices to heaven. These women openly associated themselves with the condemned. They cried aloud for Jesus, while the disciples are hidden in the shadows of the text. It is to these women that Jesus speaks. To them, he entrusts a message, a prophetic message to cry aloud. Just as in the days of Hosea, the high places of wickedness were destroyed, so too would the high places of Jerusalem see destruction. In the words of Hosea, they will say to the mountains, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us. It would be better to be swallowed up by the mountains than to face the destruction to come. O daughters of Jerusalem, cry aloud, lift up your voices on behalf of your own people, your city, your children. Wail and beat your breast for all who suffer. Let those who have ears hear. As you hear this passage, imagine you are one of these daughters of Jerusalem, and Jesus is speaking directly to you.
The Gospel of Luke. As the soldiers led him away, they seized Simon from Cyrene, who was on his way in from the country, and put the cross on him, and made him carry it behind Jesus. A large number of people followed him, including women who mourned and wailed for him. Jesus turned and said to them, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children. For the time will come when you will say, 'Blessed are the childless women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed.' Then they will say to the mountains, 'Fall on us,' and to the hills, 'Cover us.' For if people do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?"
As Jesus turns to you and breaks his silence, how do you hear the tone of his voice? Does he speak with compassion, condemnation, commission, or something else? With this image of Jesus in mind, flesh torn open, thorns gouging his brow, man of sorrow with grief, listen to these words from the prophet Isaiah. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. What griefs and sorrows are you carrying? Can you allow Jesus to look at you and to speak to your sorrow?